So we're describing the first time we fell in love with motorcycles. And, I think there's something that's important, which you hear about with any type of love, is continuing to fall in love and continuing to renew that love. So when I go back to the first time I fell in love with motorcycles, I started riding when I was 4, learned how to ride a bicycle. I think the next weekend my dad put me on a motorcycle. But the first time I really fell in love with it was probably the next summer when I had my own bike and had started to build, kind of a path around the property to ride. And if I remember, my parents and grandparents went in for dinner, and I said, "Can I go out and ride?" I probably wolfed down whatever we had real quick. And I just went out and rode for what seemed like hours, just doing the same lap faster and faster and faster, and tipped over a couple times and get back up and just kept riding on my own. And it just instilled this sense of freedom and just to go out and do my own path, do my own speed, and just to be on my own. Just, okay, now I've got transportation, right? So like the world became, your oyster of like where you can go and what you can do. And it was out in nature, so it was really cool. The second time, I think, there was other times, but the one that really sticks with me is when I started riding a 2-stroke dirt bike. When you first hit that power band and figure out how to use it, like it just brought this like passion and speed to riding that was like a whole nother level. And now, the woods and the trees and sometimes roads, dirt roads, would come at you faster, and you had to learn how to control the bike better. And it just really, brought a whole nother level of, okay, this is getting real when you finally start ripping on a 2-stroke. I think it was a 250 2-stroke. And so that was super fun. The next thing is my parents had a house in Southern California for 25 years, and it was right by Ortega Highway. So I'd grown up with all these experiences riding lots of different motorcycles, and my dad said, "Hey, there's this special road right by the house where they were living," and we went out on Ortega Highway on really fast bikes. I don't remember what exactly the bike was, but I remember I did ride a 6-cylinder CBX a lot on that road, which is just a screaming monster of a motorcycle. But that first ride on Ortega Highway was just open your eyes to what riding is. I mean, it's just curve after curve after curve with straightaways and turns and off cambers and on cambers, and sometimes there'd be a little bit of water coming across the road, and you're going through the valleys where it would get cool and it would feel kind of wet, and then all of a sudden you'd pop out, it'd be like blazing sun. And this is all on a 45-minute ride. So it was really a fun experience of mountain carving, and we did that a lot. We went out and rode pretty much every bike you could imagine on that road. My dad had a wide collection of bikes. It was really fun. But you learned right away that you wanted to jump on the bike that had the best lean angle. So, you're like, oh, I just scraped my peg. This one's got a better lean angle. So you'd hop on the next one. You could, go a little faster into the turns and lean a little harder. So that was fun. And then I think, probably the next most recent time was with the Super Cruiser. The first time really getting out to go ride it and put some miles on it, it was just beautiful. I think the first time I really got to put a lot of miles on it was in Sturgis in 23. So riding up the canyon to Deadwood and riding all over the Dakotas was pretty sweet. But it just felt like, a combination of a lot of those things. So like the freedom to go ride when you wanted to ride, go where you want to go, at what speed you wanted to go. The power band is reminiscent of like what a 2-stroke does, because it just rips up in the power band and takes off. The canyon road was, a flashback to those canyon roads in Southern California. And then just the comfort of riding in the cruiser position with the styling and all the things that have come together on the bike. It's like, this is really, a beautiful combination of great memories that I've had growing up riding and the things that I fell in love with motorcycles. And now you've got this comfortable bike that has a great lean angle. It's got a power band like a 2-stroke, and you can just go off and cruise on it and enjoy, wherever you want to go. The world's your oyster. So